What you got going on over there? Random rambling, it's a lot over here, so just keep up. Welcome to my life, be like real life, told by QV. What it look like this week, we got an hour for you to save the world, let's go. I'm so happy to have you here.
Hey, how y'all doing? Y'all alright? Welcome to another episode of My Life Be Like. Real Life Told by QV. I am your host, QV. And listen, I know it sounded different coming in the door today, didn't it? That girl got a jingle. Listen, I don't even... You, that jingle to me so far. And I got 3 of them. I got one for the exclusives, one for the subscribers only, and one for the regular podcast that you hear all the time. And baby, that jingle make me want to just turn it on every time I walk in the room. Cause it be having me feeling like I'm the man when I walk through. I was like, this one here, this the one. Now, it took me a minute to get that jingle there together. This the one. I wrote that jingle. And I did a little magic, and I got it to spit out at me. But that's the one. That's the one. Clock the T, because that's the one. Or whatever. You need help, and you need a jingle, come holler at me. I'll show you how to get you a little jingle, jam. Spin around, or whatever. But let's give it up for the jingle, because the jingle gonna be the real MVP today. Because, yeah. Well, I already warned y'all, this is probably going to be a very long podcast. And it's going to be a very tough podcast. So before I get into anything, let me go ahead and give a trigger warning. We are going to talk about a very lot of hot and sensitive topics today on here. Some of this will hurt your stomach, turn you inside out. I don't know how else to put this. So this is your trigger warning. There'll be a lot of very sensitive things discussed today. So you might want to guard yourself. I don't know how you listen. This might not be a good one to listen to in the car. This one might be a better one to listen while you're able to sit down. This one probably not even going to be one that you want to listen to in chunks, because I know it's an hour long. Some people don't have an hour to devote or whatever, but this is probably one that's going to be longer. And 2 is going to probably be one where you don't want to sit the podcast down or pause it or stop it. You might want to be able to ride this one out all the way through at once, and then go gather yourself. I would definitely go get some tissues. I definitely go and do whatever I need to do to prepare myself, because this is gonna be a very, very emotional cast for me. I'm gonna try to get through it without cutting the onions, but when I got the stories, I was cutting the onions. But as always, I'm never gonna mention names. People do not call me, write me, and ask me about. Oh, do you think I think I'm halfway for me? I'm not telling you no names or nothing. Just know that I've talked to some amazing, incredible, and if you know me, I don't believe in victims. I believe if you've come out of it, I believe in you. You're a survivor. You survived it. You are victorious. So I don't believe in victims, because these are not victims. They're survivors. They've come out of it. Some of them are ready to tell their story. And yeah. So let me just get right on to it, because this week my life be like. I still haven't had no change, y'all. I'm still waiting on my financial aid to see what it's gonna do. I was able to get the money that I needed by tomorrow. I was able to get that, but I still need some change. So my GoFundMe is up. You can help if you can't. I understand. Um, and for everybody this week, let me stop right here. People do things for me privately all the time. Everybody isn't seeking to be known or named. I will name people in certain cases, and a lot of times I won't because of one, they either A, express me, hey, this was done in private, or B, I know how some of y'all are. Y'all will see somebody do something for somebody, and then y'all will go ask them to do something for you too. And I don't ever want anybody to be in a position to where they potentially get used or manipulated because people think they have an advantage of some sort. I'm sorry if you hear all the noise. I remembered to bring my water bottle to the podcasting place because my mouth gonna probably get real dry. These fall allergies acting real March, April, Mayish. And yeah, let me drink of this eternal water. Whew. Yes, I went and got me some more eternal. I gotta get me some of that Waikiki water. I want to try it. I told y'all I'm on a mission to find good water. But anywho, I don't want to put anybody in a position to where they potentially get used because people think they got something and they don't. They just decided to let God use them to help somebody or had it on their heart to help me or whatever it was. So just because you don't see people, because somebody tried to call me out on this week, because gosh, what week are y'all when y'all don't try to call me out? When I say for all the people who bought me coffee, some people use Venmo and Cash Apps and say, hey, here's the money to buy you a coffee, rather than putting it on buy me a coffee. Okay? People put things in memos. So, again, this week, I want to shout out everybody that bought me a drink this week. Your girl needed it this week. This week was hard, child. They sent the teachers to OG and left us in there like chickens. But we made it though. We made it out. Amen. I'll be glad when the teachers get back Monday. I ought to go take a week vacation, but nah, I ain't like that. I'm cool. I'm just teasing. Just in case one of the teachers hear it. I don't want to be fighting. And there is no beef. um, but anywho. So y'all have y'all warning. This week is gonna be crazy. This podcast is gonna be crazy. My life ain't had no change. I'm still looking for a job. I did do a couple of things, and I'm gonna submit some applications for some stuff that I found this week. And maybe next week I have a better update on life and living. So yeah, hopefully we don't slide backwards. I don't know. So let's just get into, the podcast, the meat and potatoes, shall we? So earlier this week, whew, let me back up. I said I didn't know what topic I was going to do after Sunday when I recorded the podcast last week. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, y'all. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm going to let life this week kind of guide me into the topic. I didn't know what corner we were going to turn this week, but boy, did we turn a huge corner this week in the world. But before we turned that corner, um, as soon as I got off the podcast, the Lord was like, "Oh, we gonna deal with that giant um about many moons ago in the essay in the church. We're about the church leader. It was not a church. Um, and reach out and get some topic stories. There's some people out here that need to hear. And of course, this is what I want y'all to understand about any traumatic situation. You do not have to talk about it if you don't want to talk about it. But when you see other people's divulging about their trauma, let's not make it about you and how you feel. What do you mean, QV? I had multiple people reach out to me this week and tell me how disgusting I was for making people divulge their trauma around the topic that we're going to discuss today, because they've been through things like that. And what are you gaining from making somebody like me talk? Nothing. But why is this even about you, baby? It's not required of you to talk. If you didn't want to tell your story, keep scrolling. I didn't even know you had a story to tell. As a matter of fact, I don't even know you like that. You just here. It's not required of you to tell. It's like you making people relive. Some people don't mind divulging about trauma in their traumatic situations in their life and stuff, but just because you don't doesn't make people who do evil crazy. If you don't want to hear about it, guess what? I wouldn't listen to my podcast today, because that's what it's gonna be about. I'm so sorry, but why do y'all feel like I seen a video about this on the internet this week and was like, why do people post about something and y'all have to make it about yourselves? And the example they kind of put was like somebody would say, I don't like strawberries. And somebody would go under that post and criticize them for not liking strawberries because they like strawberries and this is all the things that they do with strawberries. Okay, the person said they don't like strawberries. Did you have to comment? I understand asking like, why? What is it you don't like about strawberries? But going under somebody's post when they say they don't like strawberries, say, girl, you crazy. Strawberries is the best thing ever. You know, when you can do this, you can make ice cream, you can make cheesecake, everything is strawberries. I be eating strawberries all the time. That's just you, blah, blah, blah. Oh. Okay. Y'all opinion shame people all the time. Y'all opinion shame the wrong things after this week. Cause boy, and we gonna get to that too. I specifically made it the third topic on my list because y'all have attacked me about that too, and I'm gonna get y'all together on my podcast like I got you together on TikTok. Okay, but let me get to this first. Y'all are ridiculous, and I don't understand. Like, I have no idea. I'm sorry if I don't know if my microphone is picking up Christian, but she's gone on Giggle Fest right now in my background, and yeah, sorry. I don't know why we're giggling. I don't even know why we're up. I don't know. I have no idea. So let me get through this. So, yeah, y'all. So please, if this is going to trigger you and make you become unraveled and unhinged, just stop listening right here because it's about to get tough. The next hour is gonna be a tough one. We finna divulge into some. I mean, I'm assuming this gonna take me an hour to talk about. I don't know. Y'all know me. I ramble. I go out on a tangent. Yeah, y'all know. Whatever. Um, we about to talk. So I made a post for people that if they've ever been sexually assaulted by a pastor or a leader of a church and they wanted to tell their story anonymously, to reach out to me. And I had quite a few people to reach out to me Some actually telling their stories, and some people telling me, hey, thank you for creating this safe space. This is happening to me, but I'm not ready to talk about it. But I am ready to hear the podcast, so please let me know when it airs because I'm ready to hear it. And, one thing about me is, one, I grew up in a church, and I grew up in a church in a place where testimony wasn't shameful. Um, it was sacred. And the problem with then and now is that now testimony is shameful. Y'all have put shame on testimony service when testimony was actually meant to be a part of other people's healing process. That's the sole reason for telling your testimony, is to make people, just to let people know, one, they're not alone. There's somebody else out there that's going through something you going through. That is, maybe your situation ain't as bad as theirs. It's somebody out there that's relatable or whatever. It's supposed to be encouragement for you to be able to get through what you're going through. That's the whole sole purpose of testimony service. It's a part of a healing journey. Y'all is just crazy. Y'all don't have nothing. I don't even want to come up with all the words of what you don't have. I just rather say y'all don't have nothing. Y'all don't have nothing. Everything on this earth that was meant to be good, righteous, holy, and wholesome, including social media. Because I'm going to tell you, when I've been on social media since MySpace days, and I've been on Facebook since you had to be invited to be on Facebook. Just say how long I've been on there. That means I've been on Facebook for 20 years, if you didn't know. It's 2000, latter end of 2005 is when I got on Facebook. Beginning of 2006. So that's 20 years. Facebook was never like this at the beginning. Facebook from 2006 to 2010 was solid. I loved that Facebook. I can go back and look at those Facebook memories, and I loved it for me. That's when Facebook was whole and wholesome. MySpace was even whole and wholesome. If we was to revamp MySpace just the way it was in 04, 05, 06, whatever them years was, we was on MySpace, y'all would die. Y'all would die. If I had to change my top friends, and I mean, we changed them with the wind, and we wasn't no beef. Put my boo up there, my new boo next week. It wasn't no beef. It wasn't no problem. Y'all are just crazy. Y'all are just crazy. Y'all ain't used to it not being about you. And that's the problem. Everything is supposed to be about y'all. I be like, girl, it ain't about you. That's why y'all don't have nothing. There is no community no more. There is no unity no more. Everything is just me, 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 me. There is no village. There is nothing, because it's just all about me and what me can get out of any situation. Y'all are nuts, insane bats. I don't know. I'm praying for y'all though, because this is not the way the world was intended to work. If you didn't know, y'all rag on us older people, older millennials, and exennials and stuff, but literally this is not the way the world was intended to work. Y'all have literally perverted every process of this world. And I mean, even down to having babies and relationships and getting married and all the things. Y'all just make it out to be what it was never intended to do. And for that, y'all get on my nerves. Okay? Okay, there's a tangent. I just went off on one. Back to the topic at hand. Let's talk about this being essayed in the church. And I'm going to start with my story first. No, I was not essayed at church, but I was sexually assaulted by a leader of a church. Will I ever divulge your name? No, but I'm going to walk you through this before I start telling these stories on the hotline, okay? So I was at a house, not going to tell y'all whose house and anything else. It's a place that I used to go a lot as a child. And at this house, one day I went to this house, and this house, the people who lived there had a relative that had moved in. I didn't know this relative. I wasn't thinking much of this person, anything else for real. People in my time period, your relatives, it was a family and a community. And so when people move or have hard times or whatever they do, people move in with people. That was common in my day. It was common to see multi-family, multi-generational houses. I don't know what y'all do now. Anywho, I seen this person, and this person was kind of friendly, but I was friendly too at the time. And if you want to know what age I was somewhere between 10 and 11 when this happened. Um, I precisely remember. But I don't know if I was quite 11 yet. I think I was more 10 when this happened. I might have been 11 going on 12. But somewhere in there, the year is kind of shaky to me. Anywho, so this person still got a little friendly with me, and I dismissed it a lot until one day this person was able to get me by themselves. And when they got me by themselves, they pulled out, and it's a guy, their male parts and asked me to play with them. And asked me could they play with my female parts. And I can tell you then and now, I felt powerless at that point because one, I barely knew the person. Two, I knew if I told, with all the things I was doing at the time, I felt like I was going to be perceived as the liar or the person that went in there and enticed that person to do what they were doing, if they were doing anything. So I kept quiet. And I would be like, no, no. And they would pull my hand and be like, see, just touch it. It ain't going to hurt you or whatever. Ooh, I like you how you touch it or whatever. Just, I like you. I like how you touch it. Like, let me, and like would put their hand down my shirt. And cause if you know me, I've been wearing bras since about kindergarten, first grade. Cause I've always had boobs. Like I sprouted very early. I started my cycle when I was 8.5, 9 years old. And so I've always had a body, a shape, figure, whatever you want to say. And it also drove me into hypersexuality, and we're gonna get into that. Or whatever. And so they I would stand there like stiff as a brick, and he would like put his hand down my shirt, and I was like, and like one day he was like, I just want you to suck it just a little bit. Just a little bit. And he's like, it's not gonna take me. And y'all, having to recount this story and having it literally flashback in my head over here as I sit, like it is literally giving me a headache. And it went on a little bit, and then I really just stopped going down there, and yeah, it became a lot and too much for me to handle. But I knew I couldn't go tell because at the same time, I was being hot in the behind, chasing boys, all the things that I was doing or whatever. So in time went on, the newspaper comes out, and this person, if you know the Times Herald, and you definitely know the Times Herald. I don't know how many people actually read the print Times Herald now. But you know, in the day when the Times Herald, here I am again, yawning at my microphone. You know, then they put everything in Times Herald. So, like, their yearly publication back in the day, that Times Herald would list all the sex offenders in Noonan. This is before Noonan became as populated as it is now. They might still do it, I don't know. They would list all the sex offenders in the newspaper. And I remember a time went on and he was listing the newspaper, and my mama knew exactly who he was, and my mama threw the newspaper in my face and asked me had he had done something to me, and I was like, no, I ain't know nothing about that. No, and I mean, I didn't know about that he was a registered sex offender. That I didn't know. But it made all the sense in the world. But yeah, like, I knew I couldn't tell because they were definitely, I felt like they were going to make it my problem. And I'm like, I don't have time for that. I will take that name and stuff into my grave. I don't have time because I don't want more problems than I'm already having. Because I know then the life that I was living in hypersexuality, I already knew some of all of it was gonna be my fault because I had already got caught, busted on the chat line. I had got busted in the chat room. I had been caught on the phone multiple times, talking to boys, all the things. I had them been. This is pre me getting caught having sex with a boy. This is I was doing all the things at that time. So I naturally just thought nobody gonna believe me anyway, or they gonna say it was my fault. If you know, there's quite a few creators online that tell the story of fast black girls and how black girls, that life in the 90s, early 2000s, they tell about hypersexuality, and boy, do I have my own plethora of stories to tell about being a hypersexual black teenager. And I'm not ashamed of it. It made me a better person today, I promise you. Glad I got it out the way then, and I ain't out here now. The end. But yeah, I remember I was standing there like almost a brick, and like he would grab my hand and like put my hand on his privates, and he would try to kiss on me, and he would touch me, and it was the most grossest, unnatural, because one, he was not attractive at all, in the least bit. He was old, like old, not like 30, 40. I don't know. He might have been like 40 something, old, 40, leaning 50. He might have been older than that. Had to been, we talking about 25-ish years ago. I recently looked him up, and I think at the time he had to been late 40 or early 50s. But like, he was fat and he was gross. And I don't have nothing against big people, like, y'all know that. But it was everything that I didn't want. Hypersexual or not, it was not a pleasant feeling at all. It was very much, but I've always wondered of with after, especially after it came to light to me that that person was a sex offender. I wonder with the foot traffic, especially the little girl foot traffic that was at their house, why would y'all allow him to be there? And why would you let him be in places where he could potentially be alone with little girls? And I want to say, probably in that house, I wasn't probably the only little girl that he touched. I believe some of the other little girls at that house probably got touched by him too. And I never went back to see where his case stemmed from, and I probably have my friend, because if you know, my best friend is in Noonan County the scandal, and he can find anything. I probably have him go back and look it up, and I'll probably do an exclusive on this. I just have to see what he can find as far as the case files for that. Because I don't know if it happened here in Noonan or somewhere else or whatever. All I know is he turned up here, and I think his charge was either contributing to the delinquency of a minor or enticing a child for indecent purposes and stuff. It should have been child molestation. It should have been it should have been rape. It should have been, and my stiffness is what kept him from trying to penetrate me. Cause no, you weren't gonna get your big A on top of me and do nothing. No, no. But he definitely violated me in places, and somebody's pastor. Yeah. Mhm. So yeah, that's QB's story of how QB. And so once I did this week, I had asked some follow up questions about, like, did this change your trajectory in your faith? What would you tell anybody going through that right now? And like, you know, really how it made me feel. What I told you how it made me feel. Did it change the trajectory of my faith? Nah, it didn't. One thing that the Lord has always, and maybe it's just the way I was raised, the Lord has always been my source and my strength. That's why I can get past y'all's antichrist foolishness that y'all got going on right now, where y'all can't even see the Lord. Y'all just see whoever and your idols and all that stuff. Like, so regardless of the things that I've been through in my life, one thing I've never done is ran from ministry or ran from the Lord, because I was brought up in a space where, with the people who mentored me in the beginnings of ministry, telling their tales, which is why this is what the purpose of testimony service is for. What happened and all of the bad, egregious things that happened to them because they didn't submit to their calling, how they wanted to run from it, and the things that happened to them. I didn't want them to happen to me, although some of them still did, but not to the level that they happened to the people who were mentoring me. So the one thing I've always had straight in my mind in all these years of doing ministry, that regardless of what people did or do to me, it's never God's fault. Never. You can get somewhere, you can sit down, you can pray, you can figure it out, you can work your way through it, which is what I tell everybody. But these things that people do on this earth is never God's fault. This is why I hate when people die, y'all be like, hey, God had a reason. God loved them and wanted them more. Like, keep God out of this. I have a friend right now that is struggling with grief, who has completely left the church because she feel like God took her child away from her. And I know some of y'all gonna know who this is. And that rhetoric makes me sick. I told y'all my pastor's a grief counselor, but even before then, I hate for that. I'm sorry for your lost talk, or stuff. Give your condolences, pray for peace, or whatever. God needed them more than you did. I hate them words. Please. You cannot be, oh gosh, I hate y'all. I really do. I really do. I really do. You know me, hate, stop telling people you sorry for their loss. Like, stop it. Stop telling people that they have to be strong because they don't. They don't have to be strong. It's okay. Fall out. Stop telling people that God needed people more than they did, and that's why they had to take their loved one to heaven. Y'all are causing people to stray. I am watching it with my own eyes, and I'm praying every day that she can find it in her heart to turn back to God, because I never wish that on anybody, to be that incredibly hurt. This is the time when she need the hand of the Lord. And I know the Lord, even though you forsake him and you don't want to be bothered, I know one thing. I've watched this happen over and over and over again in my life. I know the Lord will never really take his hands off of you, even when you mad. He will never take his hands off of you. I just wish she wouldn't feel the way she feel. But I understand incredibly, because when her child died, I watched a lot of y'all tell her, you just got to be strong. You just got to do this. She got, no, you don't. You don't. Why don't you find it in your heart to serve the person? What do you need from me? What do you need me to do? Don't just sit in these blank thoughts and prayers and just call me if you need me. No, what do you need me to do? Do you want food today? Do you need me to come and do the laundry? Do you need me to wash your kids? What do you need me to do? What can I cook for you? Hey, I know you have probably had errands to run in town. Can I run these errands for you? Instead of telling people foolishness when people die, people don't want to hear that when their children are dying. People don't want to hear that when their parents are dying and they're young. Stop traumatizing people on top of the traumatic experience of death. Do y'all hear me? Another tangent brought to you by QV. You don't believe me? Go ask a grief counselor how harmful these words are to people, and they'll tell you. You are not helping these people by telling them that they need to stay strong. I know you got to be strong. No, be weak, fall out, cry, hurt, scream, talk to somebody. You ain't got to be strong. You got to get that out of you, boo. And healing is not linear, and it don't have a time frame. Take care of you and take your time, Bookie. Do what you got to do to put yourself back together and put yourself in a better place. I'm going to tell you to start with a grief counselor, a therapist. Let them help you work through that and sort that out, especially when people die tragically. Let them sort this out with you. Ain't nothing wrong with loving the Lord and loving a therapist too. Okay? I know. Tangent still brought to you by QV. I got to get back on topic, don't I? Yeah. So about these sexual assaults in the church, let me go back to that. I got to stay on that topic. I've told you my story. Um so I said it never dampened and put a damper in my faith. I was always good. And what would I tell somebody going through this? I tell you to figure out the fastest way to get out of the situation. And two, I would tell you, go tell. Regardless of what kind of person people make you out to be. There are times when I wish I would have just told when I was that age. I don't think doing it'll do anything now. One, the statute of limitations is up. Two, people think I'm performative anyway, and I'm not. I'm one of the most genuine people you'll meet. So whatever. Y'all just don't like my cut and dry stance, and you'll be okay. To know me is to love me, and that's something that I know. Go tell. Go tell. Don't harbor those feelings because there's nothing you can do to fix or help somebody that's sexually violating you. I don't give a crap who they are. There is nothing on this earth that you can do humanly to help anybody that's violating you. They need help and you can't give it to them. They need a timeout and you can't give it to them. These people have fetishes and deviances and stuff that you can't solve. Get out as fast as you can. It's okay. I don't want it to escalate because we know some of these people are so sexually deviant that they're murderous. That's a king. What I don't want them to do is to assault you, rape you into or something until they kill you. I don't want that to happen. So get out. And for people who know that these people are, especially in the black community, because I know a lot of my black peers have been raped and molested by people that they know. And the older people in the family know that this person is a predator and y'all continue to let y'all kids around them. Stop. I put blame on everybody in this situation because somebody needs to step up and tell. I don't care who don't dislike you. I don't know why on this earth we feel like people have to like us and have to own us. No. If anybody in my family that I knew of was raping and molesting kids, they'll be down in the county jail, state prison, federal prison, wherever they supposed to go. You're not finna keep showing up at this barbecue around these kids and you humping them. Go on somewhere with that. I don't know. I'm be 100% honest. I don't know anybody in my family that's molesting kids. I don't. Because if I did, you'd be long and gone. When we go to a barbecue, the kids should be able to run and be able to see and everything else. You shouldn't be at a barbecue worried about if somebody gonna snatch your child when it's a family function. Now, here's what I have to say about people in church and their kids because it's incredibly annoying. You need to know where your kid is at in church at all times. I've told y'all once, I've told y'all twice, I've told y'all 7,500 million times. It is not okay for y'all's kids to not either be acing the sanctuary or sitting in children's church with a bunch of people. Your kids do not need to be walking back and forth in a. I know what used to go on when we wasn't sitting in the sanctuary, wasn't sitting at children's church, as there was a lift to mischief. There are people that come to church to prey on church people because of the emotionalism and because they know with church people, if they ain't got no sense, they're likely to be able to get away with their deviances. They come and prey on women in the church, children in the church, whatever. You don't need your little child does not need to walk to the bathroom in church without you. I don't care what church it is, and I mean that about my own church. People come in there all the time. You don't know their intentions. And when they go up, it's easy for things to happen. They know when people ain't watching. I hope y'all know that. They know how to prowl and pounce. And let me tell you about these situations of sexual assault from somebody that's been sexual assault. They happen very fast because they know they don't have time. This ain't no romantic getaway in a hotel on Valentine's Day. Baby, these is quick instances. Some of these assaults happen in less than 5 minutes because they know that's about all the time they really be happening. Really, and most of them probably happen in less than 2 minutes. I know. I'm giving y'all a minute to think. I know that was a lot of thought provoking for y'all. That's why I quit talking. I went and gathered a little data on the church. And these numbers make me incredibly sick. And a lot of this stuff is skewed because, of course, you have the in the data the I would say the variables in it is that sexual abuse in the church is very secretive. It's underreported, and of course, you got whole institutions that cover up um what's going on in the church. So the data with sexual assault, it tends to be fragmented, but it's widespread enough to understand that it's a long-standing problem. So assault in the church just ain't started. We watched the crumbling of how many Catholic priests and stuff. I don't have formal names over there. I'm not Catholic, so I'm not trying to be disrespectful if I call it out of the wrong name. I know I have people that are Catholic that listen to me, so I'm sorry if I don't use the right title name. We watched years ago how many young people were being raped and molested by Catholic priests and stuff like that. Years and years of how many children were raped and molested. I seen one instance um of data where it was showing that in some sex as in SECTS sex as in those segments of religion that almost 70% of people have witnessed some kind of sexual abuse by people in the church. Talking about general church people. They've witnessed it happen. And I guarantee a lot of us turn a blind eye to it. People in power raping and molesting people anyway is a problem. And I'm talking about from your pastors and stuff, molesting and raping people up into daddies and granddaddies and uncles, people who you would see in a family that would be in position of power, raping the kids, raping their siblings. You just have to be vigilant all at once, regardless. I hate hearing these stories. I hate being in working in education and knowing that I mentioned this a couple of episodes back, actually knowing. So let me explain something to y'all. I know we are going and we're living in a time now where a lot of these old religious groups and stuff, now they're being exposed through documentaries. I've been knowing this stuff. I grew up around some of these people that are like the people in that documentary who were attending these groups and functions, and thank God I never got caught up into them, because hey, my folks were gonna let me get caught up in a mess like that. No way. But I grew up with people who was going to these conventions and places and stuff like that, and these camps and stuff. I'm gonna be quite frank, and I'm gonna keep it a buck. The church is a place where a lot of crime go on, a lot of abuse go on in the church, a lot of manipulation go on in the church. That's why a lot of people now are walking away from the church. It's because they are seeing it for what it is, and they're choosing to walk away. That's why y'all be playing like that mess last week with that girl talking about some God calling me to clean house and she ain't hugged me the right way. Girl, please. That ain't the house you need to be cleaning. That very manipulative tactic that you're using right now and stuff, that's what need to be cleaned out. The church manipulating people into taking their money and all of that stuff and giving and all of that stuff. It might not be your church, but it is a very widely used tactic in the church to manipulate women, especially single women, to overgive. To shame people for not giving their money, not giving a seed. I mean, pass your tithes and offering. To shame people, well, y'all know, you know what the Bible say. The Bible say blah 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 blah, and we just need. It's the emotionalism of the church. They weaponize it. This is why you have to be careful who you link to and connected to in the church. Everybody's hands ain't clean. I wish I would understand that in all things, Jesus Christ, God, religion, and everybody who call on the Lord is not here through the Lord. Everybody that call on the name of Jesus ain't doing Jesus' work. And God's either. I'm astounded in 2025 of how many of y'all don't recognize the Antichrist, that don't recognize Satan in its purest form. How y'all still getting tricked? It's beyond my comprehension. I'm not sure how these people to this day, especially after this week, are still able to manipulate some of y'all and all of y'all. I'm gonna just say most of y'all. How? Because people say they save and they know how to quote scriptures, and they know how to talk or speak well of God. How do y'all not understand? And I'm gonna tell you how. It's because your discernment is tainted. Something that I was taught a long time ago when I first started really studying to be on my own before I got into middle school. When I found out I was called to be an apostle and I started really deep diving and studying is the very first thing I learned from somebody was that you cannot take up an opinion of this world and apply it in the Bible or apply it to Christianity. When you have an opinion of people, then you're biased. And one thing we don't serve is a biased God. The Bible tells us that you are supposed to love and respect people regardless. And I don't understand how much of regardless do y'all not understand. Opinion is not a fruit of the spirit. Let me say that again. An opinion is not a fruit of the spirit. So when y'all antagonize sections of people, cohorts of people in the name of God, that is not biblical. I hate to bust your bubble. You have now taken up an opinion and you're going to wrap your whole being or your whole. It's just like ChatGPT and why ChatGPT is so dangerous. ChatGPT only spits out the knowledge you put into it. It is not infinite like Google or whatever. If I go and put something into Google, it's not going to give me the same. Google's going to give me a wide range of everything that could possibly be said on the topic, even stuff off that topic. But ChatGPT is really going to give me a precisely what I put in there. So if I've made up my mind that everybody who doesn't look like me and doesn't believe what I believe in is going to hell, then I've now formed an opinion. We don't know who going to hell. Can I tell y'all that? Or is that too much for y'all? You don't know. I will tell you this, some of y'all that probably think y'all gonna make it into heaven will probably make it into hell because of what y'all do and how y'all believe. I tell people, ain't no way some of y'all believe in Jesus. It just ain't no way. You might think you do, but baby, it ain't no way you could do this and believe in Jesus at the same time. That is not a fruit of the spirit. And see, with me, you can say whatever you want to say to me about religion. I'm a fruit checking person. Always have been. What are your fruit? What is your fruit? What kind of fruit are you producing? And if everything is discourse and discord and hatred and opinionated and political, let me help you. Religion in the kingdom of God is not political, it is united. Politics brings division. You can't do both. Buki. There is no such thing as a Christian nationalist. It's called the Antichrist. It is seeking out power, personal power, instead of God and the anointing. And what God got going on right now. I see y'all persecute people every day, especially this week. For what? If you deep diving and you really in the kingdom of God and you really all about kingdom, some of the stuff I heard y'all say this week, you'd have never said it. One thing about the biggest, I guess I want to say, one of the biggest things about being about kingdom business is that you ain't got a point to prove. I know some of y'all like, ooh, QV want to preach today. Who know me? I'm trying not to, because I told y'all. If you have a point to prove with your religion, it's become your idol. You doing it wrong. You should not ever have a point to prove. If you feel like you gotta chastise and point out people's faults and stuff with your religion, you're doing it wrong. I don't care what y'all say. There are things that the Lord hates. But I realize this, y'all cherry pick. And I mentioned this on TikTok earlier this week. Y'all never ever want to weaponize whatsoever a man soweth, that so he shall reap. Y'all never want to weaponize that scripture at all, because that make y'all realize the dirty, toxic, crazy things that you put up on this earth. It gotta come back on you, baby. And that's New Testament. I mean, that's all the way through the Bible. That's New Testament. I really want a lot of y'all to get somewhere and sit down with some real deal pastors, not preachers, pastors and teachers. And that's another thing that the church is strayed away from. They strayed away from teaching. I thank God I have a pastor that does teach, but people have not taught these things in a long time. That's why it's so easy for y'all to weaponize the Bible. I will not, and I have not, and I never will take any part of the Bible to whoop anybody's with. Rebuke none of that. That's not how you rebuke people. And who are you to rebuke somebody out your opinion anyway? Y'all don't have enough conversations. Y'all just always want to be in confrontation. And I'm going to tell you, God is not a confrontational God. Some of y'all want to live in that Bible so dang bad. Well, go back to sacrificing your children and animals, please, while you live in there. You see how you sound? I mentioned this already. The Bible is simply basic instructions. You need to be still praying now and see what the Lord has the word for right now, for what's going on right now. You don't live in the Bible. The Paul and them people was talking to them people right there. That's why they was letters and they were addressed to certain people. So why are you using that against us? The Bible is very clear. Y'all just want to do what y'all want to do with it. Tell you who it was addressed to. It tell you who it was talking to. It tell you who was when, where, why, and how. It should simply be an inspirational tool in religion. But y'all be honing on and doing too much on. And I just be sitting there like, Lord, help us. Help us. If you want to come down here right now and flip the earth upside down, I understand. Look at all the division and riffraff of people calling in your name that a lot of people don't even understand, that they don't even know you. They know it's very clear in the Bible when the Bible says to study to show yourself approved. It's really why this week is why the Bible tells you to study to show yourself approved, because a lot of you don't know God like you think you do. I have never seen God tell people to die. I have never seen God tell people to starve. I have never seen God to tell people to be ugly and rude to each other. I have never seen God to tell people to do any of this mess that y'all say is of God. and that y'all be celebrating. And I'm going to get to that when I get to that topic. But back to this sexual assault in the church. So I'm going to read a story that somebody brought to me. We already over an hour. I told y'all this was going to be a long one. I knew it was. So let me read this story to y'all. And no, y'all know, no name, no face, no case. So this was submitted to me. It says I was sexually abused from the time that I was 3 to 7, possibly 8. I can't remember exactly now. I blocked out a lot of this. My father was disabled, so he had to leave me with family members at times. So my mom, who was my dad's caregiver, could get him to other places, Rome or Atlanta, for his special appointments. I was left with my aunt and her man, which was her husband. This man was not related to me. He would wait until my aunt was cooking his dinner and call me to she asked me not to be mentioning his name because he was a local sheriff and police at the time. And he was also like a missionary too. In the church, and he led several things in the church. He would call me to come to him. He'd take me to the back of the back bathroom where the hot tub was, and he'd have his way with me. He'd rape me and sodomize me, and he'd try to make me orally please him, but he would just get mad that I didn't understand how to do it. Mind you, this is a 3-year-old, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old. My parents were very religious in a Pentecostal church, so I had not been pre-exposed to any kind of sexual material or porn, and I had no clue how to do this. He told me that he would kill me and my parents if I ever told, and as I got older, he would hold me at gunpoint. One time, my aunt came to the back, and he had the gun pointed to my head, and he told her to go the F away before he blew my brains out. After that, I would just always scream about going, and I would flat out refuse, throwing myself on the floor, crying, yelling, screaming. You name it. I was doing it. But my lips about why I wouldn't tell, my lips were sealed. We was in we were in my dad's best friend auto shop in Temple. They knew him through their own familiar relationship. He told Dad that he, the man, had shot himself in the head with a 22. I told my dad that I would dance on his grave, and he slapped me in my face. He never truly knew what was going on with me. I did not tell until I was 18 years old when the doctor told my mom that I had severe scar and tissue damage following a surgery for sepsis. They told her that she needed to talk to me. Why? And she did. My aunt, who was married to him, was dead. He was dead, and my daddy was dead. My father would have killed him and made the police take his life if he would have known what was going on. But I blamed myself. I told it. I told it all about how he would bribe me with cream savers, strawberry candy, and we would play Manchala and a little marble game. I told her about how I remember wearing a pink and green matching shirt and short sets with the watermelons on it. She asked me about the color of the hot tub, and when I told her, she immediately stopped the car, got out of it, and held me. She just held me. She told me that she knew I was being 100% honest. She calls my dad, other sister, and they talked about it, and my aunt told her several of his granddaughters have came out and said the same thing, and she believed me 100%. They finally had answers to why I never wanted anybody to touch me. I never wanted anybody to hug me or anything, or I never wanted people to look at me. As a child, he made me feel very nasty and dirty. He made me feel irreparable. I felt less than worthy of anything. It didn't affect my faith as a little girl, but around 13, 14, I thought I was gay because I was terrified of men. And that caused us to get kicked out of my mom's Pentecostal church that she had been a Sunday school teacher for over 20 years. My dad had been a deacon at one point before his health got as bad as it was. He died when I was 16. My mom found a little Southern Baptist church that she loved and was accepted in. She found an even closer relationship with God, especially after he died. But when she found out about me being hurt, she was angry. She was hurt. She was hurt. I didn't feel safe enough. I had seen a lot with my siblings who were older than me being addicts. My uncle on her side was in and out of legal trouble in prison, but she thought that she had did the one thing which was shielded me from everything that was going on over there. I attended her Baptist church. We had dad's funerals there. It was good for her. I was older and moved from home to Brunswick to college and then to Tampa, and she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer that was terminal, blood and bone cancer called multiple myeloma. She lived into 2022 and she died of necrolizing fasciitis and gangrene from a bladder sling. I would say please do not let the actions stop you from finding safety, serenity, and solace and more in the Lord. If you choose to follow Christianity, do that. If you choose not to, then don't. Follow what fills your heart, but never ever let what that man, or whether it was she, he, they, who was supposed to be godly, stop you or not stop you from believing. God is a vengeful God. He won't allow them to get away with it forever. And for some survivors, that logic doesn't work. And I get that because it didn't work for me initially. That action shouldn't stop you from finding love, hope, calmness, trust, and belief. And I believe that you can find it in other religions. Just be open and find where you fall with your faith. You have a hell of a testimony, and whether you use it to glorify Him, find justice, to help others, that's your choice, and nobody can change that or take that from you. I am sorry you experienced this. It doesn't change your abilities. It doesn't mean that you cannot love. It doesn't mean that you are less worthy. It does not mean that your desire after life is no longer possible. It doesn't mean that you have to hate God. Please remember that you are loved, beautiful, and handsome. You can still go to church, you can still get justice. You are not and will not be defined by this happening. Please don't ever let it hold you back. You are strong, intelligent, and still whole. There are a group of survivors who love you and will back you. Don't be afraid to reach out. Don't let this person win, and don't let them take your joy. The enemy comes to steal, kill, lie, and destroy. Don't believe the bad, painful thoughts. Don't believe the trauma. You are not what this fake person of God told you. You are not defined by their sins or what they've done. For the longest time, my mama didn't even visit my dad's grave because my abuser was in the mausoleum in the same cemetery. She said she wanted to paint baby rapists on his plaque. She wanted to scream it from the rooftops. I had to tell her too to not let it define her, not to let it stop her from her healing from her grief and visiting my dad or remembering him. You can make it through this. You can get to the other side. You'll be okay. It may not feel like it, but one day when it comes, don't let it consume every second of you. I was told, and I'm not sure if this is true, that your body regenerates cell every 7 years. So you will have a body that he didn't even touch. You will have parts of you back to claim and to feel clean. You won't always feel this way. So please hold on. You are so perfect. You're working. And if anything else, if nothing else, know that. That was a story submitted to me, and I'm over here cutting up all the onions because, oh my goodness. Whew. Let me drink some water and divulge into that. 1 second, please. Intermission, 1 second. I think I might have had already went on this tangent, but you literally cannot let situations like this win. I said it. What people do isn't God's fault. It ain't God's fault. It's just not God's fault. People gonna do what they want to do. We have free will. You're gonna do what you want to do. I don't care how you feel. You have free will. But it's not God's fault. I want you to heal. I want you to be whole. Thank you so much for submitting that story, girl. We actually talked a long while after she submitted the story, and we was talking back for very pleasant person to speak to. I enjoyed our conversation. It was helpful. When I read it, and even then, like having to read it again, put just a little bit more power back into me. Just a little bit. Please stop letting people steal from you. I get people steal things, but we've got to stop letting people steal from you. Learn from it and heal. There's a lesson in everything. Learn from it, take what you need to take from it, and heal. This is why testimony is super important. This is why we need them, because that is going to help somebody. I know people that are going through that people who the next story is going to tell you. And there's a reason why I read that story first and not the other one that I'm about to read. Take back your power. You have your power. People know what buttons they can push, and people only do what you allow them to do to you. So you have to take back your own power. People are not omnipotent, omniscient, and anything that's omnipresent. Those words only belong to God. People are on a rope as far as you put them. Okay? Okay. We're going to get into this next story. My grandfather was a Pentecostal preacher, and he had a family friend that we call Uncle, and for the sake of this, I'm going to call him Uncle Bob. Even though he wasn't related, Uncle Bob was a missionary for Christ. He went to Jamaica and other countries bringing the word of God to poor people. When I was between 11 and 12, he was in town with him and his wife, parked their RV on our property. I went out one day to take him some his clean clothes, and he pulled me in his lap while grinding on me, and he tried to put his hands in my pants. I immediately went and told my mother, and she made them leave, and we never saw them again. Not sure if she just said not sure if this is what I was looking for, but it was still sexual assault, and it was absolutely what I was looking for. This wasn't a long story, but when I asked her how did it affect her, she said absolutely did affect my relationship with God. I won't allow my children to go to church because of it. And I still struggle today to whether I believe in God or not. Very hard story. Very hard story. One, thank you for telling that story. And I thanked her for telling that story. But I I wish you nothing but Godspeed and healing. I want you to know that regardless of what happened, God is still very real. And I want you to take your time. That's a hurtful place, and I get it. This is exactly why when I was saying earlier, you got to just know where your kids are. And I'm glad your parents weren't dismissive. Because a lot of parents in preteen, teenage years become dismissive. You tell them something, and they just like, oh, well, are you sure that happened? At least that's what happened in my day. I don't know what y'all doing right now. I would hope one day you would find your faith in the fullness of it and allow your kids to go to church. And if you don't, that's literally your decision. I don't want anybody to one make that decision for you or to grab even more power than that situation grabbed from you. My prayers are peace be with you. And as I say in this thing that I pray for y'all to be in peace, I pray for y'all to be whole and not in pieces. And I hope that some of what I've talked about today about sexual assault in the church, I hope some of this resonates with you and your situation. Most definitely. Because I know you can do it. You've lived this far. You can overcome. Again, healing is not linear and it does not have a cap, just like grief. It's not linear and it does not have a time period. People actually literally need their time. I will recommend, if you're not in counseling or ever went to therapy before, if it's something that you would like to explore, therapy, there are therapists out there. I always plug my pastor. She's a therapist. If you like her information, grief is one of the things that she specializes in. Um, but she can also do trauma and all those other things. Reach out to me and I'll be more than glad to give you her information. She is over in Douglasville, and I do think she take virtual appointments. Too. I think she in Villa Rica and Douglasville, depending on the day. And she take virtual appointments, and I think she take insurance, and you could and I think you could self pay and stuff. But she only see adults. She don't see children. Okay. 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 Um. So yeah. Um. It's misfortune. It's unfortunate for the ones of y'all that walks by and couldn't tell your story. Maybe one day, my prayer is that you'll be able to talk through it. Again, the biggest thing is take your time and heal. The saddest part about trauma of anything is bleeding on other people. Take your time, step away, and heal. Heal. I don't want people carrying on things over and over and over into their life and destroying other people. Heal. Heal. I know what it's like to be with somebody that has been in through a traumatic experience and they bleed all over you. Because they never really sat down and healed. Heal. Heal. It's okay. Heal. Pray. Seek professional help and heal. Do what you gotta do. And I know everybody don't believe in God and don't go to church, which is why I say seek professional help. Whatever that look like in your life, do it and heal. Get it back together. Get back to you. You shouldn't be missing parts of your life for trauma. Heal. Take back your own power. Okay? It's going to be a long one today. It's going to be a long one today. Now, the next thing I want to get into, just going to get into these next two topics, is about that rant that I was going down about this Christian nationalism and how annoyed that I am with y'all. Because I don't know. I'm not sure. I've been around here a long time. But God ain't ever told me who to vote for. And God ain't ever condemned me for voting the way I voted. And I don't know where y'all get this from. That you can't be a Christian if you vote for this person. And you can't be of God if you vote for that person. And you can't love the Lord if you don't vote like this. And you the devil if you vote like that. And what? Huh? Girl, what? What are you saying? Huh? Y'all do entirely too much. Y'all have perverted the religion now to making people feel bad and guilt tripping people into, if you don't vote this way or you don't do this, then you can't be of God. That's perverted Christianity. It is very false and it's very untrue. To be honest, ethically, nobody should know who you voted for in the first place. If you hold a position of leadership and power, nobody should know who you voted for anyway. This internet got y'all crazy. This internet got y'all in a tears. Y'all have lost it. Y'all have lost it for everything. Y'all don't have no discretion. Y'all don't have no couth, no empathy, no sympathy. And I've mentioned this. No nothing. It's just what you say supposed to go and nothing else. It's me or nothing. And I don't even know how or why this is even an issue. I don't understand. As the way I was brought up in church, thank you, Dr. Tuff, Dr. Felix, Pastor Felix at that time. Pastor, people who have been monumental. Bishop Hill. People who've taught me along the way have never, and I've been in church my whole life. And I'm going to tell y'all, as a child, I didn't go to children's church like that until I was like a teenager. And I went to teenage church because the church that I had, like, teenage church was 5. I was at World Changers then. And I was in Inline with Ken Jones and Erica then. So, of course. But the most of my life, I've spent it in adult church. And never have these ever people, and all of them are still around. I have never heard them, even now my own pastor, I have never heard them push politics in the pulpit. Other than to say, Election day is Tuesday. Make sure you get out and vote. And it's only really been recently because of the chaos that's going on in the world. But I have never heard my pastor get up in shame or say or do anything to anybody political or tell anybody they was going to hell for the way that they voted. Because that is not of God. It is not biblical or anything else. And if your pastor is doing that, baby, go find another church and go run. And let me speak to you. Let me speak to y'all. Politics shouldn't consume you. Your whole life should not be politics. Even if you are a political analyst, commentator, researcher, an actual politician, or anything, it should not consume you. Your whole being shouldn't be a politician or politics, because then it is an idol. You're worshiping that. You are not worshiping God. I closely follow politics and politicians, but you really wouldn't know that by me or my content. I do my own research enough to know and do, but because I hold positions of influence, you will never, ever, ever see me discredit somebody for who they voted for. I remember when Donald Trump didn't get elected in 2020. And I remember some people that were in the church and leaders of the church literally blocking people who voted for Joe Biden because they didn't want to be associated with Satan. What? I hate that the internet have given y'all a platform to be so bold, so loud, so ignorant, and so stupid. I have friends that are Republicans, that are moderate Republicans. I have associates that are MAGA. And I still choose not to be disrespectful to them. And I know I have to frequently converse with them, collaborate with them, etc. I have Democratic friends, I have extreme leftist friends, etc. But it's never caused me to be disrespectful. Never, ever. Ever, never. If your politics have caused you to hate, dismiss, or be disgusting to another set of people that are not like you, then it is an idol. God ain't told you nothing. You are not a Christian. You are a Christian nationalist, and you need to deal with you and your anti Christian rhetoric. There is no God in Christian nationalism. It is politics and oppression and power. And the amount of people that fall for it, to me, is crazy. Y'all actually think them people over there that's saying that they doing this because God told them to do? I sat a couple of months ago, and I don't think it's even been a couple months ago, really. Only been a few weeks, but I know it's really been a few months now because we deep off into September. And I watched Tucker Carlson interview Ted Cruz and him say that the only reason why the government continues to give and give to Israel, because that's what the Bible told them to do. The Bible tells you that you can't not give to Israel. That's a promise in the Bible. Point that out to me. Because what? Do y'all even understand that the actually state, like the state of Israel right now, is not the same Israel from the Bible? Two different, separate, total entities. This state is literally bombing and hurting and withholding and all the things from other people. They're causing irreparable harm in this earth. And you think in your mind, in your logical thought processes, that this was okay with God and ministry and kingdom work and kingdom building? I'm going to read y'all my favorite Bible verses. Let me get since I'm recording on my phone, let me open up my computer because my paper Bible is upstairs. Let me read y'all my favorite verses of the Bible, and I probably break them down to you a little bit. These are my favorite verses in the Bible, and I hope that y'all eat of them and be merry. And I hope that they inspire y'all to stop some of this foolishness that y'all be doing in the name of the Lord. Let me get this open. What is my computer doing? Hold on. Let me get to it. And I'm going to read it from one of my favorite translations. I don't know if it's available on here. Hold on. No, actually, I'm going to read it because I'm not going to read it in nothing but the New King James Version. So I'm going to read it in the New King James Version. And this is Ephesians 4. So, Ephesians 4 talks about unity in the church. It's the first topic. I'm going to read to y'all Ephesians 4. The whole Ephesians 4. It's my favorite verse in the Bible. Verses and passages in the Bible are found in Ephesians 4. If my computer stops being crazy. Hold on. My computer is being crazy. All right. Ephesians 4 says, I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you to walk worthy of the calling with which you are called, in all lowliness and gentleness. I wish this computer would stop. I'm going to print it. I'm going to print it so I can read it. without this computer continuing to do this pop up and being crazy. Now my whole computer is freezing. What is wrong with my computer and why is it doing all the things? What is going on? Hold on, y'all. My computer is losing its mind over here, and I'm not sure why. Hold on. Let me figure this out. All right, I'm back. I got the computer into working order, and I also went ahead and printed out so I wouldn't keep getting all these pop-ups. I hate websites now. It's like people run 7,000 ads on one website. Like, get a subscription for that much. Because I just want to read what I need to read and then go on by my business. So let me start off again by reading Ephesians 4. It says, I, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you to walk worthy of the calling with which you are called, with all lowliness and gentleness, with long suffering, bearing with one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. I'm going to stop right there. Does anything we got going on in politics sound like any of that? It don't. Okay, let me keep going. Verse 4. There is one body and one spirit, just as you were called in one hope of your calling, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. But to each one of us, grace was given according to the measure of Christ's gift. We'll stop right there. I ain't seen nothing graceful in politics. Nothing graceful in politics. None of it. So how is politics, even just stopping right here, how is any of it any kind of principle? And don't say, well, you only in one verse. Listen to what we saying. I hadn't heard anything divisive, hateful. Everything is about unity and a unified body. Let's go to verse 8. Therefore, he says, when he ascended on high, he led captivity captive and gave gifts to men. Now this he ascended, what does it mean but that he also first descended into the lower parts of the earth? He who descended is also the one who ascended far above all of the heavens, that he might fill all things. And he himself gave some to be apostles, some prophets, some evangelists, and some pastors, and some teachers, for the equipping of the saints, for the work of ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ, till we all come to the unity of the faith and the knowledge of the Son of God, to a perfect man, to the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ, that we should no longer be children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrine by the trickery of men and the cunning craftiness of deceitful plotting, but speaking the truth in love may grow up in all things into him who is the head, Christ, from whom the whole body, jointly and knit together by what every joint supplies, according to the effective working by which every part does its share, causing growth of the body for the edifying of itself in love. Let me stop. I'm at 16. There's a reason why I didn't stop in between that. So y'all meaning to tell me he gave these gifts to the officers in the church, and none of one of them said that it was a Democrat, a Republican, a Green Party, a Independent, or nothing. He legitimately said in 11, he gave apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers for the equipping of the saints and the work of the ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ. Nothing in that says anything about government. Nothing. Nothing in that says anything about to fix the government, to work the government, to control the government. It literally says for the equipment of the saints, for the work of ministry, for the edifying of the body of Christ, till we all come to the unity of the faith and the knowledge of the Son of God, to a perfect man, to the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. What are y'all doing? And then every time it tells you to do it, it tells you to do it in love. But if we come down one more verse, it said that we should no longer be children, tossed to and fro, which if you go right here, you could say, this is why the Bible tells you to study to show your own self-approved, because only children listen to their mommy and daddy. Once you grow up, it's your responsibility to earn and learn. You should be learning what you need to know. Mommy and daddy can't guide you anymore. Carried about with every wind of doctrine by the trickery of men and the cunning craftiness of deceitful plotting. Sounds like politics to me. But speaking in the truth of love, the truth of love may grow up in all things into him who is the head, Christ. Ain't none of this still said nothing about your political party was right or wrong. And if you didn't vote this way, then you ain't doing what God calls you to do. This is literally what God calls you to do right here in Ephesians 4. Y'all understand why it's my favorite verse in the Bible? My favorite passage in the Bible? Yeah, let me keep reading. 17. This I say, therefore, testify in the Lord that you should no longer walk as the rest of the Gentiles walk, and in the futility of their mind, having their understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them, because of the blindness of their heart. Verse 19. Who being past feeling have given themselves over to lewdness, to work in all uncleanliness and greediness. But you have not so learned Christ, if you indeed have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Jesus, that you put off concerning your former conduct the old man which grows corrupt to the deceitful lust, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that you put on a new man which was created according to God in true righteousness and holiness. Therefore, put away lying. Let each of you speak truth with his neighbor, for we are members of one another. If the person, neighbors in the Bible, are just people who are you, if you cannot speak with truth and love with your neighbors, then you are problematic. It just said that right there. If y'all still talking about what the old folk did, it's right there. Right there. 26. Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath, nor give place to the devil. That's the problem. Politics has given the devil a home because y'all have misconstrued and perverted the Bible into what y'all want to believe. Because I don't never hear y'all read these verses here. These ain't the verses y'all read. These ain't the ones y'all want to read either, because these make y'all realize error. Let him who stole steal no longer. I'm on verse 28. But rather let him labor, working with his hands what is good, that he may have something to give him who has need. Let me read this again. Let him who stole steal no longer, but rather let him labor, working with his hands what is good, that he may have something to give to him who has a need. I've never ever see anything you supposed to lend to your neighbor, help people out who need. What? That's in the Bible? I'm just reading it straight out of the Bible. I ain't even reading one of the weird focus translations. I'm reading the New King James Version, only for readability and flow purposes. But okay, let no corrupt words proceed out your mouth, but what is good and necessary edification, that it may impart grace to the hearers. What, you supposed to have grace and mercy on people? What? Huh? You supposed to be graceful? I did not know that. Didn't know, because politics ain't teaching nobody to be graceful. And do not grieve the Holy Spirit of God, for by whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Let all bitterness, wrath, anger, clamor, and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice, and be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, just as God in Christ forgave you. What? That's the end of Ephesians 4. I know most of y'all, because I know for a fact most churches don't read Ephesians 4. They use it for ministers training to teach where the cause of the church offices come from. But I'm going to tell you full of the cloth that everybody needs to read Ephesians 4 from 1 to 32. Because y'all will stop being so freaking foolish if you read it and you digest it and you hear exactly what it says. It literally addresses humanity in the fullness thereof. So what are y'all doing using God for politics? It's insane to me, because Ephesians 4 just told you to quit it, I say. I know I just gave some of y'all the light of your life, because people don't read Ephesians 4. I think I've only, outside of ministry school, heard Ephesians 4 read once in church, and I've been in church my whole life. 30, if besides a minister's training of some sort or some kind of enhanced leadership training, I've only heard Ephesians 4 read maybe once. Because y'all don't want to use that. That confronts your confrontational foolishness. That shut it all down in 32 verses, and they're very short verses. They ain't even got that many words. I just read 32 verses to y'all. So what are y'all doing? What excuse do y'all have now? God told y'all in the verses what he gave y'all. He gave y'all apostles, pastors. That's what he gave y'all. He didn't give you politicians. He gave y'all sense to love and care and watch out and be kind and forgive and have grace and mercy towards all. He told you you need to study for yourself. He told you not to be angry with people too long. You need to work it out and stop being so crazy. He told you a lot in them 32 verses. A whole lot. And then what you're supposed to be doing. But again, y'all weaponizing, y'all cherry pick, because this is what Christian nationalism is about. We take these Old Testament, brutal, before Christ, and we could misconstrue it to fit a narrative for power. It's a power grab. It's authoritarian. It's a God complex. And if you're not careful, and if you're not in the church, and if you're not in your word, and if you're not eating the meat of your Bible, if you're not partaking in your Bible, then that sounds fair to you. So when people come along and dispute the theology of politics, because I don't even know how did we even get theology in politics. And please don't say, well, the Bible said that for unto us a child was born, a son was given, and the government will be on his shoulder. Don't say, well, it's power, but this country was founded on God and biblical principles. For in God we trust is on the back of the Bible. I mean, on the back of the dollar. This country has lots of people in it, a diverse set of people, and I just be wanting y'all to know. Even as I read that, I understand that all of my neighbors are not going to be Christian, follow Christ, believe in God and anything else, or even believe in nothing, because believe it or not, QB got atheist friends, agnostic friends. I do. They and the criteria for hanging around me or being my friend or being casual and being able to converse with me is just to be kind. I don't care what you believe in. Because like I said, God ain't tangible. I still have to prove my beliefs. I can't go say, hey, this is God. God, this is Mary. Is there evidence in Christianity? Yeah. But it's also, if you read the other books, the other religious books, you can prove that religion too. But besides all that, we just can't be modest and respectful. We can't do that. Is that too much to ask? Oh, we about to hit that second hour and we still in topics. My Lord, today. Oh gosh. I said this one was gonna be a mighty long one. A mighty, mighty, mighty long one. Mm, mm, mm. Y'all get it together. Which leads me into my next topic. This whole Charlie Kirk situation. Now, let me preface by saying this one more time. I am not now and never will I ever be rejoicing that somebody died. I do not now and never will I ever condone violence of any choice, any kind, none of it. Abuse either. And I'm going to say this just like I said it a couple of days ago. What happened to him was unfortunate. Very super unfortunate. No one and I mean no one, deserves to be gunned down, especially in a public place. I don't know the motive, nor do I really care. But this is what I do know. I am not less of a human. I am not less of a Christian. I am not less of a person because I legitimately don't care and have feelings for this whole situation. Neither does anybody else. I've said this many a times. You can't validate or invalidate someone else's feelings. The gaslighting behind Charlie Kirk and to try to deconstruct, dehumanize, and all the things that are going on, because for some odd reason we got this corner of people in this earth that say that you are supposed to be sad when people die, is a lie. I only coming to know who Charlie Kirk was in the last maybe 6 to 8 months. And the things that I've heard of him have not been nice and are not anything that I stand for. Let's get that straight. However, he could have walked past me and I still would have spoken and said, "Hey, how you doing?" Even though he despises the fiber of my being and has made multiple videos expressing that. Y'all are upset at what his literal words are with other people. What? This is what he said. This is the life he chose to live. This is what he groomed out and said to be true. So why are y'all upset with other people? Because they said what they said. They said what they said. It doesn't make anybody anything. And nothing. Social media got y'all messed up. You think you're supposed to be on the whim and the wave of everything, or it's nothing. I and nobody else have to grieve him. I do not follow him like that, and I don't agree with a lot of what he's saying. So of course I'm not gonna be grieving and mourning him and anything else. I would wish that his family finds solace in whatever they need to find it in. But that's about it. I don't have anything for that situation. And that's okay. Please stop letting people make y'all feel bad because you don't have. I hate when people say, "Oh, my thoughts and prayers are going out to you," and they don't mean it. You ain't praying. You ain't saying nothing. You just saying what everybody has been conditioned to say. It's like a Pavlov. It's conditional. That's what y'all conditioned to say. I don't have any thoughts and prayers other than what I said. I hope his family find solace in whatever they need to find it in about this situation, because yes, it is tragic. Yes, they will experience trauma, and whatever they got to do is whatever they got to do. However, your life is your legacy. And what you say are your seeds that you put into this earth. They have to sprout back up somehow. which is why I said we are so very quick to weaponize everything but whatsoever a man. And I'm gonna get y'all that Bible verse. I gotta make sure I remember it right, because I know what it is. Galatians 6:7-9. King James says, "Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that he shall also reap. For if he soweth to the flesh, shall of the flesh reap corruption. But if he soweth to the Spirit, shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well doing. For in due season we will reap if we faint not." Y'all don't weaponize those scriptures against people, because it makes you face that what you say and what you put out there is what come back to you. Which is why I spend a lot of my time telling y'all, regardless of how you feel about people, be kind. Regardless of how you feel about people, be kind. Those are my seeds on this earth. That's my legacy, man. When I leave here, when I leave this earth, y'all won't be able to say I spew any kind of hateful rhetoric towards any group of people. You gonna say QV, all she tried to do was try to help people and try to teach y'all how to be kind to yourself and one another. That's my legacy. So for other people to be upset that people's choosing to remember Charlie Kirk by what he said is crazy. He's gone. That's his legacy. It ain't nothing to misconstrue. It ain't nothing to not hear, because that's what he said. We live in a digital age. He recorded everything. He was recording when he died. And I'm not trying to be controversial. I'm just trying to show y'all how rough y'all sound being upset with people because they choose to remember him by his words. It's your legacy. That's how we remember people. We can't go talk to Dr. Martin Luther King right now. We can't go talk to Jimmy Carter right now. We can't go talk to Adolf Hitler right now. We can't go talk to Mussolini right now. We can't go talk to Malcolm X right now. We can't go talk to Harriet Tubman right now. We can't go talk to none of the kings, prior kings and queens of England right now. We have to remember them by their legacy, and their legacy is usually their words and their work. That's your legacy. Don't be so sad. Don't gaslight people to feeling like, oh, you're a bad person because you don't have sympathy. He was a husband and he was a father and he was a man of God. Okay. And I don't have to feel any kind of thing about that because he was not my friend. I don't know anything about him other than what's on the internet. And I don't have to remember him in the way that you remember him. Remember that other than being a straight white male, he pretty much had some kind of misconstrued or hateful rhetoric towards every other group of people. So if they choosing not to remember him the way you feel like they should, then that's a you problem. You don't have to manufacture empathy or sympathy for anybody or any situation, regardless of what they was. The example I used on TikTok or on Facebook was, if I died today and y'all go tell Christian Daddy, that I died, and y'all try to make him feel sympathetic for a while. This man hadn't been here 14 years. We were in a very toxic, very crazy relationship when it ended. He hadn't done nothing, been around, called, text, anything in all these years, and y'all want him to feel sad because I died? No, he shouldn't. We're distant. You come up to me now and you tell me I hate you, QV. I wish you was dead. I can't stand you. Everything you say pisses me off. And then tomorrow you die. I'm going to be like, well, okay. That was interesting. I guess the bigger picture I want y'all to understand is that you don't have to have feelings towards everything. I wouldn't want you to rejoice that somebody died, but if that's what you did, then that's your own peace and poison. I'm not doing it. But two things can be true at one time. I cannot have feelings about this situation, and I cannot be rejoicing because y'all feel like because nobody cares, that means you're rejoicing. No. Ain't nobody rejoicing that man died in front of all them people. That's a traumatic experience. Them people standing right there gonna have to go to some counseling and a bunch of other things if they do. I don't know. That would be a hard experience for me. Watching something like that. I don't even want to see the videos of it anymore. But I can imagine if I was standing right there, regardless of how I feel, if I was standing right there and I just watched this man get sniped in his jugular, I would be some kind of traumatized. I probably wouldn't have slept or anything because it's a hard thing to do. Adrenaline, all that's running, rushing, and everything else, it'd be hard to come down off of. I don't have to have a feeling for it though. I don't have to have a feeling for it. I don't have to have a feeling for his family or anything. It does not make me less of a human. I really wish y'all understand that I don't care is a valid response. I don't care. It doesn't make you cruel, but you care about what you care about and you don't what you don't. That's something that me and my mom used to get into it about. She'll say some stuff and I'll be like, oh, okay. That's a valid response. If I don't have any proximity to it, I'm not going to let it draw much of my attention and my affections and my words and my thoughts or anything. Because I don't care. I don't care. It's not cruel. Y'all are just conditioned to think that everybody is supposed to be about you, which brought me back to what I said in the beginning. Everything is not about you. Who cares? I'm not supposed to care about what you care about. That's what makes us individuals. We're not group think. This isn't a group project. It's individual. If you took on sympathy for the situation, great. If you didn't, great. I wouldn't want you to be mean and cruel and callous, but if that's what you chose to do, then great. I don't feel nothing else for you. It and nothing else. And I'm not going to dwell on it. Now, 5 days later, I mean, what we is 3-4 days later? But yet and still, my people go on my people, meaning black people, went on, they swore it was us. And we did it until they realized that it wasn't us. And we was over here minding our black business. Because why all these HBCUs getting threats? Why are we targeting black people for this? Don't know. Black people are tired and they don't care. Majority of black people are tired and they don't care. Okay? All right. I don't want to speak on that no more. Whatever. So, next week, I don't know what I'm talking about, but somebody did give me an idea to talk about people who have been sexual assaulted by people in power and how they felt. Not church power. I'm talking about like police officers and stuff like that, and how they felt like how they felt in that moment of not being in power, stuff like that. So I might go that way. I don't know. Just like I got off the hill last week and let the Lord deal with me, I'm gonna let him deal with me for that too. Because I do. This isn't a religious podcast, but I do pray because this is my legacy. I am in influence. I am a leader, and I always pray about what do I need to talk about on the podcast, even if I'm rambling. I'm careful. Next thing, food and topics, y'all. I don't know what I'm gonna cook this week. I have no idea. I did cook my hamburger helper and stuff this week, and I ate it all week pretty much. Um, I will say this: I am ready for Thanksgiving, y'all. It is September, gonna be October, baby. I'm ready for them chitlins and them collard greens and ham, turkey, and dressing. I really want to do a Friendsgiving. I don't want to cook at home. So anybody want to invite me to their Friendsgiving? Anybody of my family having Thanksgiving dinner and I can just bring a couple of dishes, that would be great. This will be my first Thanksgiving, not having to cook a whole bunch of everything, and I want to keep it that way. I just rather bring some dishes. So call your girl if you want to see me in the house. I don't have a Thanksgiving plan or a Christmas plan yet. So if y'all want to see me, holla at me, okay? All right, shout outs this week. I definitely want to give a shout out to myself for staying sane this week. Yep. I was pressed this week a couple of times. A lot of people pressed my buttons this week. And I didn't go off, y'all. I did not go off. I didn't. I tried to be as sane, professional, in my right mind as I could. Secondly, I want to shout out my sis, Mika. Mika over there. Mika Wilson. She absolutely came through for your girl this week. And I appreciate it. If it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have recorded this podcast today. I'd probably been somewhere sobbing. Um, but she absolutely had been a great help to me this week, and I appreciate it. Much love and all the things. Not gonna go into that because some of y'all just do too much. Shout out again to everybody who wrote me. I got some very, very nice, kind, in the midst of chaos. I had some people to call or to message and to speak and impart some words into me that I really needed. A lot of kindness came out of this week in the midst of hostility, and I appreciate it. I got a lot of words of encouragement this week from people. Um, I needed it. I needed that breath of fresh air. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's been rough. Life has been a nut job, and that breath of fresh air was everything. So if you wrote me or called me or anything this week, sent even just a small token and said, because all of my tokens this week was sent with love, small kind words. Thank you, thank you. And if you want to buy me a refresher, because y'all know I don't drink coffee. More specifically, I'm gonna tell y'all what y'all be buying me. Really, lately it's Seven Brew. Like, it's the most economical thing. My drink at Seven Brew is about $5, and it's a 32 ounce, and it gets me through my mornings. I drink a lemonade with all the flavors, lots of flavors, and I change it up. But that's what I drink in the morning. No caffeine. I don't drink that. Or I might get me a Dr. Pepper from Whataburger and a good ice, maybe. But usually it's lemonade from Seven Brew. Usually. And yes, I know I'm the lemonade queen. I could make my own, but I be making, and I lost a lot of my lemonade making supplies because they have to stay refrigerated. In the loss of my refrigerator, I lost everything really but the base and sugar. So I have yet to replace any of my lemonade supplies. It'll cost me about $70 roughly, because a lot of it was, yeah, it spoiled. I told y'all I didn't know the refrigerator had gone out until it was a while before I knew it was going and gone out, had lost temperature because I hadn't been in the refrigerator. I had only been in the freezer, and the freezer never lost its temperature. So I lost all of my lemonade making supplies other than my base and sugar because they don't go in the refrigerator. Um, so yeah, and a lot of it was almost new because I hadn't been able to. It was open. It might have been used once or twice, but I hadn't been able to go out and do much anything. Um, I've been making here, there. People had called me to make lemonades here, there, onesie, twosies, threesies, foursies. So I had everything on hand, but I lost all of my stuff. So it'll be about $80, and I just have not had the $80 to replace it. So yeah, if you want to, replace it, then great. I think it'll be about $80. 60. Hold on, I'm thinking. Yeah, it'll be about $80 for me to replace everything I need to make lemonade. I can only make a couple lemonades right now. Um. So yeah, that's that. I know. I mean, that refrigerator going out was devastating. I told y'all I lost a lot, and my priority was just replacing my groceries. Cause literally, I honestly think, now that I go about it, I don't think the refrigerator was as cold when I bought groceries on Wednesday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Tuesday is when I bought groceries. And I really didn't discover the refrigerator was that hot until about, I think it was Thursday night or Friday, which is too late because then everything is spoiled. Like I'm tell you, and I know everything was spoiled because my milk that was brand new was blowed up. So yeah, another something and nothing, nothing and something. Yeah. So those are my shout outs this week. Um, the question of the week this week is literally, um I really want to know what y'all gonna do to help one another right now. Times are hard and stressful. I want y'all to tell me what y'all doing to help one another right now. Me, I'm doing whatever anybody asks me to do that I can do reasonably. If you need help, ask. Ask. Yeah, ask. Um I do want to wrap around to a situation. I think I briefly mentioned it with the domestic violence, like week for last or whatever. By my neighbor. Well, somebody in my community being shot. I think I mentioned that. I do want to let y'all know I have heard from her. Her story did air yesterday on Fox 5. I'll put it, but she told her story of survival, and I'm so glad she made it through. We are still praying for her. I'll link everything in um the caption of this podcast. Cause definitely she need help, and when she reached out to me, she had said some things, and I be wanting y'all to know, even in her video, there is no shame. If you are going through something, reach out to people. Please reach out. There is no shame. You'll know who you can trust and who you can't trust and stuff, please reach out to people. Say something. Don't just sit there and hurt, be in pain. Say something, because if I can't help you, I'll call 50, 11 people until I can find somebody that can do it. So reach out. I never want nobody to die, to drown in domestic violence, family or domestic abuse, or um, relational abuse or whatever, or drown in their own mental crisis and to the point where they're suicidal. Reach out. Reach out. People care more than y'all do. We just live in a situation and in a society that's really screwed up. People care more than what y'all think they do. You just have to speak up and say something. I know I'm just say it. I'll talk to you. Just say it. I try my best not to be unapproachable and stuff. Like, you see me in the store and you need to talk, which is these days I'd rather go in the store say it. You see me at the wash house somewhere, I will talk to anybody. I am friendly. Sometimes too friendly. But please, reach out and say it. Just talk. I want y'all to talk to people. Um Words of encouragement coming off of this week. Y'all, I've gave y'all my word of encouragement when I read Ephesians 4. Be kind to one another. It's the end of Ephesians 4. My words of encouragement. Ephesians 4, 31 and 32. Let all bitterness, wrath, anger, clamor, and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be kind one to another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another, just as God in Christ forgave you. That's all. That's my word of encouragement. Stop the foolishness. Get your life together. The kingdom of God is at hand. Stop mixing and twisting all this stuff up. Clean yourself. Psalms tell us, creating me a clean heart and renew a right spirit within us. Some of y'all need to purge yourself and get that clean heart and the right spirit, because you're doing too much. Way too much. Because there's no reason why this podcast was almost 2.5 hours now. We running into it. And that's going to bring me to the end of my podcast. I'm definitely don't know this week with this podcast being so long. Am I going to record an exclusive? I might go do some research on that person that SA'd me and tell y'all how old they are now. Because I know they're still registered sex offender. And I checked the other day. But I forgot how old they are. So to give you an idea, because this was 25 years ago. I was 9, 10, 10, 11. And I'm about to be 36. I did have somebody ask me, did I have a birthday plan yet? No, but I've been thinking, and maybe by next week I'll have that birthday plan for y'all, so y'all can join me for my birthday. I think I want to do something unconventional and local for my birthday. Okay. All right. That brings me to the end of it. We went 2 hours and almost 30 minutes today, and I'm over here starving, hungry, crazy, sleepy, and all the things. And recording this cast. Listen, y'all, if you don't hear anything else from me today, please hear this. Y'all, stay at peace. Stay whole. And if you're not at peace, I need you to stop and do whatever you need to do to heal. This is not a world that we can walk in pieces right now. You have got to heal and be whole. We can't keep bleeding all on each other, being crazy, etc. This world is literally devouring people whole. And seek out for, literally not just this world, the enemy is seeking whom he can devour, y'all. Stop being gullible. Stop presenting yourself for the devil. Y'all dress yourselves up for evil. And I don't understand why. it's okay. You don't have to be performative in ministry. And you definitely don't have to speak out about everything. You don't have to have an opinion about everything. You don't have to show us how much you love the Lord and serve God, because really and truthfully, your spirit will show it all. You can say what you want to say, but your spirit gonna show who you really are. Your fruit is gonna tell on itself, okay? All right. So y'all make sure y'all stay in peace. Y'all stay whole and not in pieces. I will see y'all sometime. Goodbye. Love y'all. Bye-bye.